Hey, music maker. Hope you're having a great day. And on today's quick production tip, I wanted to talk about 3 ways to make your pianos pop. This is a great way to get your pianos sounding big in the front of your mix, crisp, and gluing everything together. So let's jump into Logic and I'll show you the way that I love to make pianos pop. Okay, so now that we're here in Logic, I want to talk about the 3 elements that I believe make pianos pop. And those are the piano sample or sound themselves, that is EQ, and that is compression. So let me play you a song I've been working on with a talented artist named Leandra Richardson called I Want Faith, so you can hear the piano in action, and then we'll talk about how we achieve this sound.
I want faith to move the mountains, faith to walk on seas, faith to see.
So you hear a very steady, very full, very rich piano sound. So the first thing obviously is the patch itself. In this case, I'm using Addictive Keys Grand Studio Piano, I believe. There's a ton of great piano sounds out there. I love different piano sounds from Spitfire Audio. They have great things through their originals sample packs, which are super affordable. Also, they have free stuff through Labs. You haven't checked out the Labs stuff from Spitfire Audio, you got to check it out. It's so good. There's a felt piano that I use all the time for more cinematic, very moody. I also even love the Grand Piano sound in Logic. Grand Rhapsody Piano from Waves is another great piano sound, and there's Keyscape, and there's so many great piano sounds. So whatever sound or vibe you're looking for is a great starting place. You can also really manipulate and tweak each one. But obviously a great piano sound starts with the patch itself. So in this case, we're using Addictive Keys Grand Piano, and let me play it solo just by itself without any EQ or compression. You kind of hear where it starts. So as you can hear, a really solid, a really full sound, but we can definitely do some things to sweeten it up. So the first thing I love to do is add some EQ. So in this case, I'm using the Universal Audio 1073 EQ, and I've got it on the piano enhancer setting. This is honestly just the time to use your ears and feel out which sound kind of sits best in your mix. In my case, I wanted to boost the highs to give it a sparkle. And then the mids honestly was the place I spent the most time cutting and boosting, because there was just so much energy in here. So I made sure that I was kind of sweeping around to find the right frequency. So let me show you what that sounds like. And then really boosting up to try to give some of that strength, some of that low mids a little bit too, because we're cutting out a lot of the low end, which you'll see here in a second. And we wanted to make sure to still have the body and the power, but at the same time not clouding up all the low end. So you can see here we did a pretty significant cut on the low end, but let me show you what it sounds like with the low end. So it gets really big and full, but in the context of the mix, we don't really want that. Piano is such a great dynamic instrument. However, it can really fill up a lot of space sonically speaking. So just making sure to cut out the low end and in context of the mix, which of course right now I'm showing you in solo so you can kind of hear the dramatic differences. However, when you're doing the EQing moves like this, you want to make sure you're kind of doing it in the mix to know that you're not taking too much away. You're keeping it where it needs to be, just making sure that you have nice frequencies where they need to be nice and cut them where they are kind of overbearing. So that's it. So now with the EQ on, we've got this. I'll turn it off. Loses a lot of life, feels far back in the mix, feels dull. Bring it back on. Really good. So that's the second element, is EQing makes your pianos pop. Now the third thing is the compressor. So now that we've got the tone where we want it, now let's make sure we kind of have it sitting where we want. So in this case, I'm using just an LA2A. This one happens to be from Universal Audio, and I've got the gentle compression preset on. I love using presets because it's a great starting place. You know, these people who design the presets, they're really good at what they do. They kind of know which application might fit the best, so they name it appropriately. Honestly, just throw on what sounds right. If it doesn't sound right away, try a different preset. But most of the times, if you pick something that sounds right, then you just kind of tweak it a little bit and that'll bring you right to where you need to be. And in this case, I did exactly that. I barely touched the preset, honestly, other than just kind of remove a little bit of gain over here. And so with and without compression, see how now it's kind of sitting right there in the dynamic spot, especially in the mix. It just sits right in its pocket. It glues together the highs and the lows. It's a great mid-range instrument now. So as I play it back with and without. See, it's kind of more abrasive. It's more dynamic, but a little bit less controlled when we turn it on. Sits right there in the pocket. So then, in context of the mix, we've got it here.
I want faith to move the mountains, faith to walk on seas, faith to see your power and feel your presence move.
So as you can hear, it's just sort of bouncing along right there in the pocket, right in its own space. And I feel like it is exactly where it needs to be. And as you can see, that only comes through a patch, the EQ, and the compressor, and now the piano is sitting right where it should be. And I think it sounds great. So you can do this the same exact thing. Whatever patch best suits your mix, whatever EQ best suits your mix, and whatever compressor best suits your mix. But those are the three elements that I feel like makes pianos pop. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Also, if you'd like to give me another topic for a quick production tip, something you'd specifically like to see, I'd love to make that for you because we want these videos to be for you to help you on your journey. So comment below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss a video. Now go make some music and we'll see you on the next video.
I want faith to move the mountains.